Open tabs, margin notes, highlighter, bleed through quotes, research minds, steady eye patterns only she can note. I-90 fog, whispering under wheel, skyline, afterglow, 2 states, packed rooms, quiet minds that know, no sign needed out front. They circle to her voice, questions rise before she starts, curiosity by choice. She pivots mid-lecture, checks who's leaning in close. Say the part you skip out loud, that's where the learning goes. Heads home with the speakers up, Biggie in the background, mind still mapping theories while the city slows down. She teaches the why behind the crime, the hurt behind the face, Philly in her backbone, psychology in her grace. Don't let the hype fool you, she stands 10 stories tall. She don't just teach the lesson, she teaches you through it all. Late nights with case files open, notes in the margin glow. She's showing you your story's roots, so you can choose where to go. Yeah. Biggie quotes inside the slides, right next to coping skills. Spread love between the lines of how a nervous system feels. Long days, quiet grit, humor in the punchlines. You are more than this moment, written 10 times, old assessments in a folder, ink dust on the sleeve. She can map anxious attachment before you know you grieve. 1 foot in Jersey lecture halls, 1 on the Philly street. Home is where she learned to fight, classes where we don't repeat. Grown kids texting check-ins, pride she doesn't post. She teaches minds all day, then goes in mother's most. Case files, true crime, mind behind the scenes. She doesn't tell you what they did, she shows you what it means. Your story is not your diagnosis. You are allowed to rewrite it.
Everyone, welcome in. Of course my bangs want to be silly. How about you couldn't hear me because my thing wasn't on? Welcome everyone. Happy Sunday. Come on in, come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys, just so you know, I got, it's a cheapie, but I got a stand on Amazon, so hopefully it'll be here tomorrow, so that my computer can sit up and so that it's not getting so hot underneath. I do have it on a tray table that has like little slits, but I don't think they're big enough. So, but hopefully that'll take care of the fan issue until I can get a new computer. So let's see. Okay, so I wanted to do an update. Hi Truth. Hi, Cuff You. Hi, oh, look a squirrel. My girls are here. My girls are here. Here we go. Let's do this. So you guys, as you come in, please hit like so that I can get into the algorithm. I have to tell you, I asked people last night towards the end of my live, which that's amazing that if people get to the end of your live. And I told people that my analytics said that my engagement was down, and the thing is, when your engagement's down, they don't put your live stream into the like algorithm as much. So people last night did exactly what I asked, hit like, made a comment, even a heart, like just putting a heart, no comment at all, just something, gave me enough that I was able to get into the algorithm, and I got like almost 1,500 views already, so I do appreciate that. You have no idea. So if you guys could hook me up again today and hit subscribe and like, that would be amazing. You have no idea how much that really helps, especially because I'm still in the beginning of YouTube, so I don't really make very much money. So that's a helpful thing for me. That's like worth money is what I'm saying. So if you want to help me out, that would be great. Not with money, I mean with hitting like and subscribe. That's what I meant. That helps me out. So I know that I am often the person that isn't always in a position to help as much as I'd like for other people. So I know that there's little things we could be doing for free that helps creators. So let's get into today. Why did I do this today? Let's see. Oh wait, I ended up bleeding money. Yes, isn't that what happens? Oh, look a squirrel. Oh, look a squirrel says she's trying to save up too. You guys, it's awful. And I know that it loses people too, so I'm like really trying here. Okay, so I did get a fan, so hopefully that fan will help us. So let's talk about Nancy Guthrie. Okay, so I hope everybody's having a fabulous Sunday. If anybody has any questions, just put it in the chat. I'm going to put the light on, so just in case. That's a little bit better. If anybody has any questions, just put maybe some emojis in front of it so that I can answer them for you. We're going to go over some updates. So I didn't think that there were many updates in this case, and I was actually wrong. There were more updates than I realized. So let's go over some of them. So I'm going to first share, instead of jumping right to the deck of, I call it a deck to make it sound like it's not a PowerPoint slide. Before I jump to the PowerPoint slide, let's just call it what it is. I just want to read over a few of the things that I found online that's giving us the latest update, including some things that were just dropped within the past 30 minutes or so. That way we get an update on what's happening in the case so that we can, have the latest on here. That's all it has to do. Let's try that again. All right, come on. Oh, here we go. Oh, thank God. I had a heart attack for a minute. Okay. So here we go, you guys. And again, I am uploads. Oh wait, why didn't it upload that? I don't know why I did that. Hold on. Here we go. Let's just do it again. A big deal. All right, let's see if it worked this time. Oh yeah, it did. I was gonna say no. What's happening? Okay, so here we go. Oh, the Deets video from last night. Yes, thank you so much for dropping it in Discord. That was a really good video, right? And I didn't know about that creator until last night. So there we go. All right. Oh wait, I think I have two live stream tabs open, which is probably, I'm like afraid to exit out of one of them. All right, forget it. I'm not going to exit out of it because I'm afraid if I exit out of it, it's going to exit out of the whole live stream. So I don't want to do that. So let's talk about the first one. This is the one that I wanted to talk about first because, so this is from the New York Post, and I thought that I was one of the people that covered Savannah Guthrie's brother-in-law, right? So when I watched Ashley Banfield with everybody else and Megyn Kelly, and then was like, oh damn, and I was like, I said allegedly, and I said we have no, proof at this moment, but I think I have a thumbnail. Now I did do a thumbnail where it's like 3 strikes, so it listed or it had a picture of the 3 people that have been investigated so far, and it's like strike 1, strike 2, strike 3 type thing. So I feel like I did try to start with this one because I do think that it's really important. So here we go. Let's talk about this one. So Savannah Guthrie is livid over false accusations against brother-in-law in missing mom's case. So today's anchor, Savannah Guthrie, is livid over early claims that her brother-in-law was prime suspect in her mom, Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, according to her former NBC colleague, Megyn Kelly. The conservative firebrand said she had learned Guthrie was left fuming after fellow journalist Ashley Banfield had alleged that Savannah's brother-in-law, Tommaso Cioni, was somehow tied to the February 1st kidnapping in Tucson, Arizona. Kelly dropped the revelation amid reports that Guthrie is planning to sue Banfield over the false allegation, and especially since the Pima County Sheriff's Department publicly cleared the family of having any involvement. You guys, that's wild. Don't you love how they get a picture, like she was probably biting something off of her lip, you know what I mean, and they get a picture of her to where now it looks like she was angry, and I bet that had nothing to do with this picture. But anyway, nonetheless, I have not been able to confirm that the Guthrie family wants to sue Ashley Banfield. This is what's written in this report. But I have confirmed that Savannah is livid about the report and definitely does not suspect her her or her brother-in-law. Why would it say definitely does not suspect her? That's weird. Savannah is livid about that report and definitely does not suspect her or her brother-in-law, Kelly said during an episode of SiriusXM's The Megyn Kelly Show late last week. Can you blame her? I mean, of course, she loves her sister. I'm sure she loves her brother-in-law, and I'm sure she genuinely doesn't believe that they had anything to do with it. Sione and his wife, Annie Guthrie, were the last known people to see Nancy after having dinner with her the night before she vanished, according to investigators. Just days after her disappearance, Banfield went on air citing a single law enforcement source who had Sione was possibly being eyed as a suspect. And I think we could say it went even a little bit further, right? Because not only did they say that there was a suspect, but if you guys remember, because I watched it just like everyone else, they alluded that her source said, like, you can count on it type thing. So we'll see. I don't know. So here goes that timeline. I think that's the end of that article. So let me go back to the live so that I can do the next one. So let me take that one off the screen. Hey, you guys, come on in, come on in. So, all right, so that was the latest there. So she is not happy with, what do you guys think about that? Put a 1 in chat if you would sue Ashley Banfield if you were her, and put a 2 in chat if you think that, you know, you could be mad, but she should just move on. So 1 in chat if you would also, or would want to sue Ashley Banfield for like a defamation, I guess it would be, because I'm sure his life has not been easy since those allegations. And let's be honest, if, God forbid, something happened to my mother and my husband was even like thought of by anyone, even if I knew in my heart he did nothing wrong, I could still imagine that it would lead to uncomfortable moments, even just having siblings together and stuff like that, and then just being under, you know, scrutiny of, are you sure he didn't go out in the middle of the night, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So it just, I don't think that it puts anybody in a good place as far as, you know, I think that it causes more harm than good regardless. So if we find he does absolutely nothing wrong, which is what the sheriff said, I believe the sheriff also said that they're doing lie detector tests right now, and the lie detector tests have cleared the Guthrie children and their spouses. That's a huge update, you guys, because that's not only, I mean, we saw some of the sheriff's, what do they call it? Like briefings with the public. And in his briefings, if you listen to his words, he at one point is like, I'm disgusted that anybody would accuse him, da 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 da. But then right after he says that, a journalist asks him, because I did more research today just to refresh my mind, and a journalist goes on to ask him specifically about the son-in-law, and he says nobody is ruled out at this moment. Okay, nobody's ruled out at this moment. And he says, I don't want to rule anyone out, because what if I find out new information tomorrow? So that was like odd, right? Because he tells us in one breath that he's like mortified that people are running with the fact that the son-in-law could have something to do with it. But then the very next question says nobody's ruled out. So I think that although the brother-in-law was cleared in that sense, people still, not everyone, but a lot of people still had a little bit suspicion. So I do think it's interesting now that Savannah felt the need to come out publicly and say something about this. So maybe I'll do one more update and then I'll go to my PowerPoint slides, my handy dandy slides. All right, here we go. So the next one talks about, oh wait, I think I have to do it here first, my bad. Okay, so the next one talks about, let's see, do we do this one? Yeah, let's do this one, people. So this was published today. This was published like a few hours ago, not even. So let's do this one next, because this is literally, you know, up to date. All right, here we go. All right. So this one, Savannah Guthrie shares a message of hope, it says. Okay. So she shares message of hope. Oh wait, sorry, I just switched over. I don't know why I did that. Okay, so Savannah Guthrie shares a message of hope as a search for her mom enters the 7th week, you guys. We're on day 50. Imagine day 50. And we do know that the family has come to the unfortunate conclusion that I think the way that Savannah says it is that their mom went home to the Lord that she loved the most. So, you know, that is a sad reality, but I think that, you know, it's very much can be true, you know. So this was written by Raven Berner, and it was published today. So the 84-year-old was last seen on January 31st after her family dropped her off at her home in Tucson, Arizona. So the things you need to know in the case. Savannah Guthrie shared a message of hope amid the ongoing search for her missing mother, Nancy. The Today Show co-host March 22nd message, so that's today. Today she posted a message, which we're going to see. She posted on her Instagram and Facebook, and this comes 2 days after she returned to social media, which was on March 20th after a 3-week hiatus. Nancy was last seen on January 31st after her family dropped her off at her home in Tucson, Arizona, and the search for the missing 84-year-old began the next day. We're going to see here that Savannah Guthrie is staying optimistic as the search for her missing mother, Nancy, has entered the 7th week. Guthrie, 54, shared a message of hope on her Instagram and Facebook accounts on Sunday, March 22nd, amid ongoing search for her mom. The post featured biblical imagery with the text, "I believe, I believe." She also shared the image on her Instagram stories, and this is it right here. So you see here we have Jesus, we have angels. Oh, look at that. And then we have the people down here looking up, and it says, "I believe, I believe." On the previous day, the Today co-host, her siblings, Annie Guthrie and Cameron Guthrie, and their spouses shared a statement thanking the people of Tucson, Arizona for their support. This is the message. "We are deeply grateful for the outpouring of neighbors, friends, and the people of Tucson. We are all family now. We continue to believe it is Tucsonians and the greater southern Arizona community that hold the key to finding resolution in the case." The family said in a statement shared during, I don't know if this is KVOA, I guess is how you would say it, News 4 Tucson, in a special, Bringing Her Home, The Disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, which aired on Saturday night, March 21st. The statement urges locals to come forward with any information pertaining to the case, especially around the key timelines of January 31st and the early morning hours of February 1st, as well as the late evening of January 11th. The 84-year-old was last seen on January 31st after her family dropped her off at her home. We know that part. On February 1st, the Pima County Sheriff's Department launched an urgent search for her after she didn't show up for church. Investigators believe that Nancy was kidnapped overnight, citing surveillance footage of a masked man at her front door. In her March 21st statement, the family shared a plea for Nancy's return home, saying, "Our focus is solely on finding her and bringing her home. We want to celebrate her beautiful and courageous life, but we cannot do so until she is brought to a final place of rest. Thank you for continuing to pray without ceasing." I think that is so, you know, it's such a strong message, and it really does put into perspective how this is so heartbreaking for this family and would be for all of us, right? And that they just want her to come home now so that they could lay her to rest. And I tried to think about it, and I think part of this psychologically, you guys, is just the fact that when you don't have even remains, it leaves the story undone in your head. So the story, you never get to the place of resolution, and therefore you can never start grieving, because there's always that little bit of hope that maybe you're wrong and maybe the person's still out there somewhere. So hopefully you guys, you know, also understand that or whatever, or feel that same way. And that just makes sense, right? So I could see why it is so important for them to recover her no matter what, right? And of course you would want that regardless, but especially for the sake of being able to have closure to move on. So we believe we know why the kidnapper did this, and we believe that it was targeted. I didn't hear this part, you guys. But we're not 100% sure of that, Nano said. I didn't hear that. Did you guys hear that? Wow. All right, I'm looking. You guys put a lot of 2s in there. Wow, okay. All right, for the last question. I'm not crazy about AB anymore, but I'm not sure a case will be worth it. Okay. Yes, a daytime live, Marilyn. Hey, Marilyn. I can't come up with a theory as to why this has happened. So, Anders, how do I say that? Anders Gustimson. Oh, please, please, please forgive me for that one. How about we'll call you Anders, or at least I'll call you Anders, because I don't want to mess up that last part anymore. But come on in, and Camera, hi, I feel like you're new too. Come on in. I'm glad you guys are here. You're exactly who I'm trying to reach out to today. Right was right that I said it right, because that would be a first. I don't always say it right. But Camera and Larkspur Studios is here. You guys, we have new people here. Please, please, please make sure you guys subscribe so that you can be part of our crew. We have so much fun together. Hi, Diane. Come on in, you guys. Wow, thank you so much for being here. Marilyn, I'm so glad that you got to be here. Awesome. So, okay, so back to here. Let me know, you guys. Have you guys heard this where it says we believe we know why the kidnapper did this and we believe that it was targeted? I have not heard that. Put a 1 in chat if you have heard that, and a 2 if you have not. I don't know if I need to know if that's just me. Like, I did not hear that before, that that Nanos believes that it was targeted, and that they believe they know why the kidnapper did that. I had no idea. So a 1 if you did know. You did know that, Diane? I didn't know this. And then a 2 if you did not know that. I did not know this, so I would be doing a 2. Pretty early, I did no longer think it was a kidnap for ransom. So let me tell you, I also don't think that it was a kidnapping for ransom. And that's my personal opinion based off of over 2 decades of teaching at the college and university level, and even teaching things like abnormal behavior and looking into suspects and what it is that, you know, we would be looking for. Okay, so I think, so somebody said, so what could this be? And, or, you know, you can't come up with a theory, what could it be? I do have, you know, some ideas of what I think, at least, we should be looking at, which I will share in a few minutes. So just real quick, let me finish this article here, and then I'll go over to my PowerPoint slides. If you guys have never been here before, I am a big nerd, just so that you guys know that I'm completely qualified to do this. I'm Dr. Jamie Vona, so welcome to all the new people. I have been teaching at the college and university level for like 22 years. I know I don't look it, but no, I'm just kidding. I have a husband and 2 daughters. I have my bachelor's and master's in counseling, psychology, and human behavior. I have a specialization in marriage and family therapy, and then my doctorate in education, because I am in higher education, and that was the degree that would help me use the skills that I have the most in higher education. It was actually crazy because I've never taken education courses. I know that sounds nuts, you guys. A lot of people don't know that about professors, is that most of us have never taken a college education course. We're just a master of our subject, which makes us qualified to teach the course. So I just happened to start teaching this semester after I graduated, and I had been in college for like 10 years. So I felt like I knew what teachers did that we liked and things that didn't. So I think that's why I became a good teacher. But that's why some college professors aren't always the best teachers. So they might be brilliant, but that doesn't always translate. But anyway, if anybody has any questions about any of my credentials or anything, just please ask me. I have no problem answering that. I think that we should all, especially with the new allegations of that we covered last night, if you haven't seen it yet, go back after this. I wasn't going to cover JLR, but I am. And if you don't know who he is, he's another YouTuber. He's a lot bigger than me. But we covered like DV and coercive control. We did all of that last night. And you'll see that there. I don't think the family is involved either. Okay, cool. Ronald. Hi, Ronald. I hope this case doesn't go on like the John Benet Ramsey case. That's so funny you say that, because I was just thinking about it today, and I am going to do a live eventually with Justin from Clutch Them Pearls. I could not get that out. What the heck is wrong with me today? I'm having like a dull moment. So from Clutch Them Pearls, he's awesome. And we were talking before about doing something on the John Benet Ramsey case, and I was watching stuff today, and I'm like, I think I'm ready. So that was like interesting that you said that, because I'm always looking for like signs and stuff like that, and to me that was one of them. So Kat says, I just remember that they were cleared based on the polygraph, which was around a 50% fail accuracy rate. Isn't that interesting, Kat? I think it's interesting because there's only a 50% pass-fail rate, yet we tend to use the results, and even though we don't use them in a court of law, we tend to use them psychologically to either, well, no, not to either, just to advance our own theories usually. So whether that be that the person's guilty or not guilty. So let's say you think somebody's guilty, they take a polygraph and they fail it. That's now validation that you were right. Let's say you think somebody's guilty, they take a polygraph and they pass it. We often will go back to statistics like, well, they're only 50%, and there's a reason we don't use them in a court of law. And people that have antisocial personality disorder often pass polygraphs regardless. So it's interesting because we do this in human behavior. But thank you, because I did not know the actual percentage. I just knew that there was a high false, positive, and negative rate depending, on the situation. So here real quick, so Guthrie visited her colleagues of the Today Show on March 5th, which marked her first return since her mother went missing. While she plans to return to the show on air, she remains focused right now on supporting her family and working to help bring Nancy home, a Today spokesperson told People in a statement at that time. The broadcaster and her family have released several video statements during the investigation. She appeared alone on an Instagram video on February 15th in which she said they still have hope. Never miss a story, of course. I don't want to say that part. So I wanted to say whoever has her or knows where she is, that it is never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it's never too late to do the right thing. And we're here, and we believe, Guthrie said at the time. So I thought that was interesting. So let me go back over here to my live stream. And we're going to take this one off. Hi, guys. Come on in. Welcome. Hi, Birdie. I think a polygraph is a tool for interrogation. Lie detector doesn't exist. I am so glad that you just said that, Anders, because language, we talk about language here and how language is really important. So you are 100% correct. So I guess I must have said lie detector. I do take that back because you're 100% correct. It's a polygraph. I don't know. I think it's just like habit. That's all. But thank you for correcting that, because you're right. And I do think it's a tool as well. So, Anders, you don't think John Benet will ever be solved? I don't know that I do either. Yep. Okay, so, all right, we're all on the same page here. So, welcome in, you guys. People are still coming in. Welcome here. We have a good live stream usually. I'm about to share my slides, which are always fun. Just so you guys know why my slides are uploading still, that I do have a Discord where after each live stream, I upload my PowerPoint slides. So if anybody ever then wants to go back to the PowerPoint slides and look them over again for whatever reason, or let's say you're like, ooh, Dr. Vona said something, I don't really remember it, but it was interesting. You could always pop over in our Discord and get that information. So over here, let's see, what do we have here? Okay, let me just grab my notes real quick. I have my notes in a file like I always do. You guys, I come prepared. I do my homework. I read a lot of things today for this. Okay, let's do this. Awesome, awesome. Keep coming in, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. Okay, here we go. Let's get the ball. What is it? I almost said let's get the ball on the road, okay? So those of you who have not been here yet, my nickname is Straight A Stupid, and I think that's a great example. I just said let's get this ball on the road, okay? That makes zero sense. All right, so let's do this. How about that one? So here we go, you guys. So today, not tonight, usually I start with tonight. Today I want to approach the Nancy Guthrie case the same way I approach the strongest lives on this channel. Not as gossip, not as fiction, not as a conspiracy. I want to talk about the patterns of behavior. And I think I say this within the first or two sentences of every single PowerPoint slide, because that really is my goal, is to point out patterns of behavior so that we can spot these patterns in the future in our own lives, right? So I want to talk about risk, assess interaction, and what psychology cannot tell us from the publicly described scenario. So sometimes we often, and my past live streams, many of them have looked at what does psychology tell us about this so that we can help hone in on a suspect, for example. I think it's also just as important to now look at what psychology can't tell us. And that sometimes is just as helpful, you guys. So please, as you come in, please do me a favor and hit like so that this can get into the algorithm and more people can join us. I usually don't go live this early, so that would really, really help me. I appreciate it. Okay, so this frame that I'm saying, it really does matter in my opinion, because if this outline that I put together is accurate, this masked person came to the door, there was blood at the porch, there was no forced entry, then this is immediately interesting from a behavioral standpoint, because it places the doorway, not the interior of the home, at the center of the event. That makes the interaction the key feature, in my opinion. I know that they found things in the home as well, but we haven't been able to access the home, so we as the public don't really know, exactly. We're not seeing it with our own eyes. The porch, we were able to see with our own eyes. So this live is not an accusation against any persons and not a claim of proven motive. In science, we either disprove or fail to disprove. Nothing in science is ever proven. Okay, so we show cause and effect behaviors, but we can never say that one thing 100% causes another. So for example, there's an extremely high correlation between, let's say, smoking and lung cancer, but it's never 100%. You can't say that if you smoke 1,000 packs a day that you're definitely going to get lung cancer, just like you can't say that if you never smoke a day in your life that you can't get lung cancer. So when we look at correlations in science, just remember that nothing is ever 100%. We either disprove or fail to disprove, which to a lot of people is prove, right? But in science, we just don't use that terminology. So the point is to ask the sharper question: what kinds of psychological pathways are consistent, I use that word all the time too, with targeted contact event at the residence? So let's move on to our next slide. So our next slide looks at what we know and what remains open, okay? So let's separate observation from inference. So this guide here that I put together gives us 4 case anchors: a masked person, blood on the porch, no forced entry, and a likely targeted event. Those details are enough to support behavioral discussion, but not enough to support motive certainty. So we can't say that for sure, Earlier I did say, and I want to make sure that I clarify this, I said earlier that I didn't think that it was a targeted attack for ransom. However, I, in my opinion, do think it was a targeted attack. I just don't think that it was for ransom. This is where we need to look at observations, right? So observations are what we think happened at the scene. Inferences are what we think those observations might mean. So let me say that again, because I need to separate the two. So again, observations are what we think happened at the scene. Inferences are what we think those observations might mean. So mixing those two categories is how we'll see this analysis and bring it to storytelling so that we can try to get something together, so that we can try to figure this out, right? That's what we're trying to do. We want to figure out, it's been 50 days, let's bring this woman home already. So the correct motive here is to say, in my opinion, these observations make targeted interactions a reasonable working frame, but they do not by themselves identify the offender or conclusively prove a grievance motive, a robbery, or anything else. I say that because a few lives ago that I did on this, I did cover what it would be like for a grievance type motive. And although, you know, with a grievance type motive, that just means that somebody could have had a grievance or could have had it out in some way for any of the family members, especially someone as famous as Savannah Guthrie, right? And having a mother that has also been on the news a lot. So she often will do like cooking segments with her. I know right like a month or so before this happened, they went back to her hometown in Tucson and they went through, you know, they went through the town, they went through Savannah's old neighborhood, stuff like that. So people would know where mom lives, right? It could also, however, in a grievance type situation, be the mom herself that the grievance is after. So I do think that we need to focus on that and not just focus on, you know, oh, could this just be Savannah because she's famous? People also, even at 84, can be, you know, stalked and surveilled themselves. So although it's not as likely, right, it still can happen. Also, I do think I need to point out too about parasocial relationships. So just in case anybody isn't aware of that, a parasocial relationship is when you have a relationship, it's like a one-way relationship. This often happens, not just online, it could be like on the TV, I should say digitally. So for example, there are people that tune into Savannah Guthrie's show 5 days a week, every single week, over and over and over. And they follow her career, right? So if she does stuff on Instagram after, they'll watch that as well. So you get to know her a little bit. If she has dogs or cats or turtles, like people get to know those things. If she has surgery on her voice box, people get to know those things. So you get to know the person more than that person gets to know you. If she has millions of fans, there's no way she can remember millions of people, right? That's just not possible. But those millions of people can remember her. So with a parasocial relationship, this would be a one-way relationship where this person now this is often where this goes into abnormal behavior, right? So with abnormal behavior, a parasocial relationship can become something more than what it is. So a parasocial relationship in itself is more than what it is. But if we take it a step further, let's say, for example, somebody thinks that you are responding to them. So let's say I was Savannah Guthrie and I put out there that today it's going to be sunny and whatever. This person could very well have in their head, if she says sunny, then she's definitely talking to me and that means da-da-da-da-da. Stuff like that, right? Even catastrophizing. So with catastrophizing, this is when something, it's like if you say this bad thing will happen. So, you know, we need to make room for that as well. But none of these theories are set in stone, right? They're all theories. Welcome in, you guys. Welcome in. We have more people coming in. Thank you for being here today. Please hit like and subscribe, at least like, so that other people can come join us in the algorithm. So this next slide is why this matters. There's no forced entry, which changes the psychology in my opinion. So this is one of the most important slides in the deck, you guys, for me. If there's no forced entry, then the front door was not just a location, in my opinion. It's a behavioral stage. Someone approached, initiated contact, and created a threshold moment. I've been saying this since the beginning, and I know a lot of people aren't on the same theory, but I very well believe that there could have been a confrontation of some sort at that front door. Whether it be that's how it started, that's how it ends as far as leaving the house, but I feel like there is a whole story at that front door that needs to be figured out. So this matters because people are socially trained to respond to doors. Let me say that again. And I have all the research here. In case you guys have never been here before, every single slide, every single thing that I put out here is backed by research. My last slide is always my references. So you can go and look up any of these things. So just know that when I give you something, like this one, for example, is adapted from Malloy and Hoffman 2014. So I will have that at the very end in case anybody wants to go to that. Okay, so doorways are psychologically powerful places, private enough to feel safe, social enough to invite compliance. Okay, and well, let me just keep going. So we open the door for neighbors, deliveries, familiar faces, emergencies, and people who seem to belong there. The threshold is a place where social expectations can temporarily override threat detection. So I've said this before in a past live too. I have to be honest, and if I had, the same type of setup outside with the cameras and you can get it on your phone, everything like that, that doesn't mean that I'm going to grab my phone every time I hear something. What if she was up using the bathroom or getting a drink of water or just anything, or just hears the door and gets out of bed and goes and opens it and thinks like, she's been living there now for 50 years or so. So in the past 50 years, everybody has to remember, like, I know this sounds like this is unlikely to people because people are like, oh, nobody opens the door in the middle of the night. That's not necessarily true, right? In the middle of the night, like detectives and stuff might come to your door, unfortunately, to give you bad news. There's just a lot of things. Somebody could be, we've had people knock on the door in the middle of the night before. There's been an accident out front. The person's car is on my lawn type thing. Like, I've had to go out and help. So it's not unheard of that somebody could knock at the door in the middle of the night and that you might go answer the door not thinking anything of it, especially because in the past 50 years, every day that you've been there, there's never been any reason for you to think that something nefarious was happening in the middle of the night. So I do want people to make sure that you keep that as a thought in your mind when thinking about this. So the point is not that no forced entry proves a specific motive. The point is that no forced entry makes interaction itself the main feature. And once interaction becomes the main feature, in my opinion, psychology now becomes central, you guys, okay? So we're going to see how this translates on the next slide. So I put here, I moved that over real quick so you guys could see it. It says, I have interaction, access, and control. For interaction, and again, I'm sure you guys read this as I was reading the other stuff out loud. That's the whole point of PowerPoint slides, is so that you put things on the screen while you're reading it. But here, just in case you can't see it, it says interaction, access, and control. For interaction, someone had to approach, signal, wait, and manage the threshold moment. Access, the front door becomes the point of leverage and decision making. And again, this could be at the end of the crime too. It might not just be at the beginning, but we do know that at some point she goes through that entry or is in that entry at some point. And then control, a few seconds of confusion can be enough to create vulnerability. That's all it takes, is a few seconds of confusion. Somebody knocks at the door in the middle of the night, and before our brains can tell us that it's something important or something dangerous, it's already too much. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Oh, the next slide is on parasocial relationships. So here we go. Okay, so with parasocial relationships, the term parasocial relationship in plain English is a one-sided bond. This is just, I know I already explained it, but just for the sake of using my notes that I wrote, just to make sure that I say everything that I wanted to with all of my sources. This sources is coming from Horton and Lowell, and this goes back to 1956, okay? And there's reason for this. And then also I have a much newer reference here as well for Tuszynski and Stever, but again, all of this will be at the end. So here we go. It's a one-way bond. One person feels connected, invested, or familiar, while the target may not know that the other person exists at all. And that's important here. That matters in high visibility cases because we do not simply watch. Some people begin to feel involved. Many of us watching right now, we have almost 100 people in here watching. There's a reason we clicked on this today, right? Maybe some of you are bored and there's nobody else live. I don't know. But for other people, it could be that you're watching stuff on this case because it matters to you. And now my live comes up saying, you know, this matters to me too. And now we watch it together so that we can come a step closer to understanding what's going on. So I do think it's important that we all come together and that we talk about this and that we keep this alive so that we can help Savannah and her family get the closure that they deserve. And so that we as a public know what the hell happened, right? What happened? We need to know that. So some people begin to feel involved. They feel like they know the family, know the story, know the pain, or know what should happen next. In healthy forms, this becomes empathy. Okay, let me say that again. In healthy forms, this is empathy. In unhealthy forms, it can become entitlement or imagined closeness. So entitlement or imagined closeness. And that's the point where it could be dangerous. There are some people here today that get to know me, unfortunately, more than I get to know everyone else. I know a few of you very well, and we talk almost every night, so I do get to know you guys pretty well. But there are people in here right now that are brand new to me, right? I don't know, you could have watched me before and just never joined the chat. And today you're joining the chat. So maybe you do know who I am. I just haven't seen your name yet. In that case, you tell me a story, like, or you say something out there, you know, or I say something rather, you might feel empathy towards something I say. That is completely normal. Even the people in here that I consider us like friendly, that's completely normal as well. And also I would argue that that makes it not a parasocial relationship because both parties know about the other person. So that is a big difference here. It's when it gets to abnormal behavior, for example, when somebody feels justified or they feel entitled or they have an imagined closeness, that's when it becomes scary and crosses a boundary. So I want to be careful here. Parasocial relationships do not automatically produce violence. So let me say that, make that clear. Most never do, as a matter of fact. However, the point is that they can reduce psychological distance and make an approach feel more justified to the person doing it. Okay, so it reduces psychological distance, meaning there are some of you that might be here, and let me know, where are you coming from here? Where are you tuning in from? There might be some people here. Oh, wait. Charlotte. Hi, Charlotte. Welcome in. Charlotte says Joseph Mars. See, I don't know who Joseph Mars. Do I know who Joseph Mars is? Has a new video with a still photo of what's most likely the porch perp. That's the name I haven't heard in about 5 years since Gabby Petito. Wow, who is that? Watch out for Joseph Mars. He was caught. Hi, Harlot. There you go. I was like, I'm thinking in my head, where the hell's Harlot? I love you, Harlot. I don't mean like in a bad way. I just mean I like seeing all of you. Watch out for Joseph Mars. He was caught faking stuff in multiple cases. He altered audio from a real DV incident and put it out as leaked audio from the Koberger case. What? Oh, well then I'm glad that we said that. Hey, Daily Talk. Probably one reason I unsubscribed from him, but I didn't remember exactly, says Kat. Oh, well, see, this is why we have to talk to each other. I don't know who Joseph Mars is. I will still have to Google him, says Birdie. So I do think that that's important, right? This is why we have this show where we are talking about it together. This stuff is really, really important. So, real quick, you guys, Jennifer Coffindaffer literally at this very moment just posted on X, does anyone know there's a kidnapping ransom case involving cryptocurrency that occurred in Scottsdale, Arizona on January 31st? I mentioned this case a while back, but people are asking me about it again. Yes, some differences, but some similarities and a lot of unanswered questions concerning who was behind the abduction. And then it says 8 and red using signal, which is my point. What does that mean? 8 and red, like the number 8, and then it says and, A-N-D, and then R-E-D, red. Using signal, which is my point. Please see the link below for more details. And then she says, do I think it is a viable lead? Yes. But is it connected? A possibility, not probability, but the FBI will definitely look into it. That is a certainty. Oh, wow, you guys. Okay. So wait, could this be the same person? Because she has a person too. I'm actually going to pull it up on my YouTube right now so that I could go over to it and see. And I'm going to I'm already subscribed to her, but I'm going to real quick. So let's go over to there and see what she has to say. Because she does have a picture. So I'm going to look this up real quick for us. I like Jen Coffindaffer. I've done a few streams with her. She's awesome. All right, let's see. What does Jen have to say? So her channel is actually called Break the Case with Jennifer Coffindaffer. She is a retired FBI agent. Okay, so let's see. Oh wait, before I share it with you guys, actually I could share it and do it at the same time. So we're gonna jump down from the parasocial relationship for a second. I like to break it up a little bit so that we're not just doing, one thing or another. So we're going to take that off. Oh, why am I so big? I don't know why I just got so big, but that's okay. We are going to fix that. Oh, no, we're not, because it's not letting me, which is fine. No big deal. So let's go. We're going to share Jen's YouTube. Okay, so over here, you see I'm subscribed. Everybody please subscribe and like to Jen Coffindaffer. And, wait, hold on, let me put this back on so I can see what you guys are saying. There we go. Cuff, you put the link in chat so that everybody has it. Okay, awesome. I'm just reading what you guys were saying. Oh, I thought you said didn't like. Okay, so let's see what she has here. So on her channel, this is why I'm confused, because when I was on, oh no, this is it. I was going to, oh no, it wasn't. Yes, it is. I think this might be, yes, it is. This is what she was referring to. But just so that people know, tonight at 6 o'clock, she's having Nancy Guthrie, 5 experts to break down the case. So let's do Notify Me. So there you go. We're going to support her. So that's what, in an hour? So in an hour, I'll make sure that I'm done. So
True Crimers, welcome to Break the Case. I'm your host. I'm Jen Coffindaffer.
And maybe when we go over there, I do something where we do, where I redirect us so that everybody can let her know that I sent us there. I really do support her, and I support everybody trying to do the right thing, especially with these cases. So let's like this. I'm going to go a little bit forward. I didn't get to watch this beforehand because I just saw it in her X, but I do want to make sure that I go to what she had been talking about. Oh, look at those glasses. Okay. Nice. Okay. So let's see.
That leaked out at us.
Hold on.
She has absolutely, without question, acknowledged that she believes her mom is no longer alive.
Yeah. Look, there are witness victim coordinators that the FBI have that are really, really second to none. And they run interference between the family saying what is going on, what's happening in my case, and with the victim. They really are second to none. So when you think about that, you wonder,
She said something about a picture of someone. I don't see a picture when I scroll through them. Let's see what this is. We'll skip through it a little bit, and then if anybody wants to go watch this afterwards, please do so.
This is not complicated. Actually, it's really rocket science. It's just how you conduct things.
But again, going back to if this was, the two of us and we got this assigned to us, part of my job, if you are so focused on the blood and the patterns and what happened in the bedroom and was she removed from the bed or not, I may remind you, hey, it is Savannah Guthrie. She's going to be here in 40 minutes. You need somebody assigned to her. And you go, oh, yes, of course. Call so-and-so, victim witness, get them here. They're going to be with her 24/7 till I say otherwise. But that's part of what we do. And then you're going to say, hey, Mac, you need to go to the car and go ahead and bring in 20 bags. And we're going to put them in a tub leaving here. We don't want anybody to see how much we're taking out of the house. We help each other.
Let me know if that's too fast. I sped it up to 1.3. But sometimes that's too fast for people, so just let me know.
We talk it through to make sure we don't forget something, or that we make a big production out of something, like the man that went to the mailbox and everybody freaked out because he went to the mailbox, but they were so freaked out because he had on blue gloves, they didn't even notice he had a key. Like clearly the family had said to him, Savannah's sister, would you get our mail? Because they can't go home. So, I think there's just a lot, and there's no communication, not good communication. There's no communication. And that's what gives way to these conspiracies and theories that are way out there. But what do you...
So do you guys see the guy right here at the window? I think that's what they're talking about here. So they're saying that if you didn't know any better, and if we didn't know that they asked somebody to go get their mail, people might put their own story on it. I always tell people, whether it be your identity, whether it be a story, whatever the case may be, if we don't fill in all of the gaps for people, other people tend to fill them in for us, and it's just a human brain thing. It has nothing to do, sometimes it's intentional, but it doesn't always have to do with intent, right? So sometimes it's just our brain. We want to fill in the gaps. Our brain sees things as a whole, as opposed to the sum of its parts. Even with words, you guys, as long as you have the first letter and the last letter of a word in the right place, the rest of the letters could be in a total mess, and you could still read an entire paragraph like that with no problem. I'll have to show you that eventually. But with that being said, I could see how a picture like this getting taken by maybe somebody out there that's, that's reporting for us live, how that might become something of a conspiracy. Like, what is this guy? Who is this guy? Why is he there? Why is he taking their mail? Not realizing that they may have asked him to do so.
What do you expect people to do?
Well, a couple of things I want to touch on regarding that. First of all, we all know, at least I think you'll agree, in the Bureau, when we were working cases, I tell you the last thing I was concerned about was what people were saying in social media or in the public. You just don't worry about that. I never were thinking, I'm going to pick up this paper and I'm going to look and see what they're saying about this. Never did it, never once. So I will say that I truly think, although now I think they do a better job monitoring because sleuths are good and they do pay some attention, that is not the focus, is feeding the public. They really don't care. But in this case, I think they need to care and they need to get this a cohesive front, as you mentioned.
You can tell they're doing it.
Wow, that's so interesting, you guys. Did you just hear what she said? So she said that when she was in the FBI, the last thing she would worry about is what we're all saying in the media or online, but that she actually thinks that they're doing themselves a disservice if they don't in this particular case. So that's so interesting. What do you guys think about that? Hey, Bonsai. Oh, I love that. Hi, Just Me. Hi, Ella. Come on in, you guys. Hi. Army Vet's here. Gutter Snipes here. All my friends are here, you guys. I'm so excited. Yes. All right, come on in. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe. It's everybody that hit like right now that allowed more people to join.
Yes.
Again, not that anybody needs, further knowledge of this, but this is Jennifer Coffin after, just in case you didn't know. And Cuff You has put her link in the chat, and I'm sure we'll do again, so that everybody can go over and like and subscribe to her after my show's over.
Out the first time, everybody went crazy. Her brother didn't say a word. Her brother didn't say anything. Next thing you know, her brother's talking about herself. And then it's like, well, why haven't they offered any money? Next thing you know, she's offering to pay. So they're paying attention. And I'm not saying they should or shouldn't. I'm saying you've got family, children, and grandchildren. I guarantee you the grandchildren are online. Well, you don't want your sheriff to be reduced to a meme when that's your guy. I mean, that's who we have running this thing, and everybody in the country thinks he's a clown. I'm saying that's really unfortunate, and something needs to be done. And the only thing that can be done.
Put a 1 in chat if you think the sheriff is a clown. Put a 2 in chat if you don't think he's a clown, like if you think he's good at what he's doing. It was funny because oh, thank you for the sub, you guys. Wow, thank you so much. That is so special to me. You have no idea. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Cindy. Cindy Titino. Paisan. Welcome. But you know, I think that this is important. So you guys, oh, we have 1s and 2s. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's literally almost 50-50. Oh, we have 1 more 1. We have 4 1s and 3 2s right now. So I am curious as to what you think. Hi, Colleen. Hi, it is what it is. Oh, that's so interesting. It's like half and half. I don't know why I thought that there was going to be a lot more 1s than what there is. I don't know what I think. I think I could see it both ways. I could see how people would be frustrated with him only because of, like, I feel like when he does his briefings with us, he gives us, like, he'll say one thing and then in the very next sentence say something that, like, contradicts what he just said or, like, leaves the door open in some way. And I don't like, too, how they said that he had and I don't know that this is true, so somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently he had a prior issue with like the FBI, not like, you know, something personal, but like a case or something, and that he was trying to like send his stuff to his labs. And I do think that that part was true, but I think in the interview with him, he said that that was because he would have sent anybody else's labs there to this particular lab, and he said they're a really good lab, so that's why he sent it there and didn't send it to Quantico. But I don't know why you wouldn't send it with the FBI, but I don't know. So that's why I go back and forth with that.
Is accurate, timely updates, and he's not doing that.
Yeah, in concert, I think, Mac, I think you'll agree with the FBI.
Oh yeah, that is strange emojis. What is that?
I want to see the FBI, whoever's on there. I want to see the sheriff and his folks. And then actually what I want to see is the media rep, who they are amazing. They're called media reps when it comes to the FBI. That's all they do is liaison with. I want to see that person go up. That's so well spoken. That's what they do for a living. They're FBI agents, all of them. Just have been in forever.
Let's see what else we have here.
Perfect sense down the road.
Because I don't want to play her whole thing. Army Vet says Sheriff Nanos is being used as a high-profile distraction. I actually find that interesting. What exactly do you think he's a distraction from? And Kat agrees with you, and I do too, but I don't know if we all think it for the same reason. I do have in my head a little something. Hi, Wendy. Welcome in, Wendy. All right, let's see what else they have here, because I do have other stuff I want to get to as well. So let's see. I'm just going to go on a random part.
But I think she only has the Nest camera that I know of for sure on the front door. But there's supposed to be a camera.
Oh, that's
where
interesting.
she doesn't get.
All right, hold on.
Savannah, I'm telling Annie, I'm telling everybody. Oh my God!
I'm showing everybody.
Is that Ann? I'm calling the police. I mean, some dude was out here. Blah blah blah.
Right.
So, and then even the night of it, Mac, I'm going to ask, or I'm going to call this in the minute I see that, because I'm still safe in my bed at this point. He hasn't breached and come in. So I'm having trouble making sense of the fact that, as far as we know, 911, no authorities were ever contacted.
Did you say there's an echo? The echo is so bad. What echo? No. Wait, okay, well then I won't put it back on if there's an echo. Is it okay when I don't have her on? Because I do have a whole other thing, and I have over 100, I have like 150 people in here, so I don't want people to leave for an echo. So let me know, is there an echo? What did you do the other night? Oh, I know what I did. Hold on, tell me if this works.
Did before the break-in or days before the break-in. What do you make of all that?
Well, there's a couple of things. I mean, she could have that where she doesn't get notifications. It could be that she checks the back And see, it's another thing with those cameras also in the lights being knocked out. You know, this person has gone around the house, and that's concerning. But I think she only has the Nest camera that I know of for sure on the front door. Now, there's supposedly a camera up on the roof, but we haven't got anything from that we know of yet, and not sure exactly where that was focused on. It might have been the pool or something else, I don't know. But here's the thing. We know her hearing aid she left behind. So she didn't have the hearing aid in. It could be that she was sound asleep at 1:30 and wouldn't have heard it anyway. But that's two reasons to ignore it, unfortunately. So if she didn't have notification, if she didn't have her hearing aid in, and she was sound asleep.
Yep, all of those are possible. It wouldn't explain the other visit. Still doesn't explain to me the purported other visit, which again, everyone look at this background, how light it is, and then look at the ambient light in this one. Now again, in this one, he wasn't as close, so maybe that Nest camera isn't illuminating at all. But I don't know, this background looks a lot different in terms of the moon and the lighting.
Yeah.
So I watched Mob Crew. Oh, what's his name? It's on the tip of my... is it Justin or something? I don't want to get his name wrong. It's on the tip of my tongue. Cuff, you will know who I'm talking about. So he was able to use his like programs and stuff on his computer, and he was able to show where I am 100% convinced that these are two separate times and that they're not from the exact same night. So I think that's what Jen's alluding to here, because she says there's like a different moon and different lighting, and I think that's what she means here. But I do think that he was able to then take it a step further, and he was able to actually look at these photos, and he's got like awesome, I don't know, he probably uses something really expensive, but whatever it is, I was convinced that these are two totally different nights. So what does explain that, you guys? Does that mean that somebody, this was pre-planned because they were there a few nights before? And if they were there a few nights before, was that their way of scoping out the place? And why weren't they, afraid of being caught a few nights before on cat? Like, there's just so many questions I have here. So what do you guys have to say to any of that? Let's see. Hi, Amanda. All right, let's keep going.
Well, that other one, I mean, is it possible somebody liked that one?
Well, let me tell you, I thought about that, and this is why I think no. I saw that it came out that within approximately 2 to 3 hours, this was released.
Okay.
And Quantico is going to take all of this back, and they're probably still working on making all of this come even more into focus.
Sure.
I've sent license plates back and couldn't see anything, and they send it back to me, and I can see.
Oh, sure.
They're magical.
Yeah.
But I don't think this was enhanced, is my point.
Okay.
Because I initially thought that, Mac. I thought, wow, look at this. Now, I want to tell you what this one is. This is directly off the FBI website. Both of these are. So I didn't enhance them. I didn't lighten them. I didn't mess with them. I literally screenshotted.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I came up with. So they're very different in terms of the background, which goes to your point that you picked B. I want to ask you about some.
Army vet, are you saying that you think that this is the same day and that this is just him leaving? I'm interested because you have some, tactical background and stuff like that, being our Army vet over here, that I believe is still like in the service, right? Okay, so we'll see what you have to say about that. And yes, I believe it's Chris. It's Chris from Mob Crew.
Something that one of the people asked, and this is something that's really been bothering me too. You and I talked about this a little bit before. Why in the world, if you breached the back door, remember the locksmith came, and I think they added a deadbolt to that back door, is one of the things they did, fixed it, added the deadbolt. So if that's where entry was made, and I know you and I didn't necessarily agree on this, I really think there's more than one person involved, unless you've changed your mind. You initially thought, no, it's a one person deal.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is, why do you make entry, you do everything in the back, you don't have to worry about this ring camera issue, why then do you decide to saunter up to the front door?
Yeah. I had the same question. Again, let's say he goes to the front door first and can't get entry. Because if you notice, he goes to the doorknob first and tries it. If he goes around the back, because it's an easier door to just kick in, because it's one door, not two, why not exit that way as well?
Or if you go in through the back, see, this all played into, I'm so glad that I shared my thoughts before we watch this so that nobody could say that I did that. Oh, that's funny. Look, Sarah was in their comments and said motion activated light. Could be. But Army Vet thinks that this is the same day. That's interesting. And that this is him leaving. So Army Vet, I'm curious, where do we think that his backpack is? I'm curious. And my thing is this, about going in the back and going in the front and stuff like that. If you went in the back and you were able to gain entry through the back, like she's saying, why not just then go out through the back? But my thing is, even if you decide to go out through the front, why not just go around and like reach your arm out and take the Ring camera off that way, or go around from inside and put a piece of tape on it? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there was other ways, which is one of the reasons I think I put in my head that this could possibly have been something where it starts out front, and that because I tried to put the psychology in this, you guys, and like I said before, and I think they even said it, we just heard it like a few minutes ago, but they even said like the human brain, that it doesn't, you know, especially in the middle of the night if you're startled or awoken, things like that, it takes a few seconds for our brains to really do the risk benefit type scale. And a lot of times we might just think, especially if, like I said before, there's been 50 years of nobody coming to your house and doing anything nefarious, you might just think, oh my gosh, somebody's at the door, like there must have been an accident, or somebody's hurt outside. Or I mean, we heard about with Jody Hildebrandt, right? Wasn't that by there somewhere? So just even knowing that story, knowing that a little boy escaped the window and got to the neighbor's house, like who knows what could have been in her head as far as who it could have been. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think?
That's strange to me, that he's going to come in the back door but exit the front door, and we know that because she's bleeding there, and the flowers are still there, but they're kind of strewn away. So I thought the same thing. Again, this is odd behavior, but Jennifer, let me tell you, I have not changed my mind, and here's the reason why. Every single time I talk to you, any of my buddies at NYPD or LAPD, or, you know, any expert in this country, and I've probably talked to over 100 in the last 24 days, everybody says the same thing. This is so strange. This is odd. This is the most unusual case I've ever seen. I can't make head or tails of it. I can't decide why anybody's doing anything. He doesn't make any sense. Is he organized, disorganized? Is he a pro? Is he, a novice?
Army Vet and everybody else, is he a pro? What do we think? Put a 1 in chat if you think he's a pro. Like if this is, and what I mean by pro, let me get my definition straight here just for the sake of this poll. Pro just meaning that this isn't his first time, that he knows what he's doing. So 1 if he's pro, 2 if he's an amateur. 1 pro, 2 amateur. I'm just interested. And Ella says, backpack off to move her. The front. It is simple job already done. Backpack is there by the car or out of sight. Okay. Anders says, do you remember in the beginning when sort of half of the people thought it was a woman on the porch? I do remember that. I do. So we're saying 1s here. There's a lot of 1s. So we think that this is somebody who's done this before. The reason I asked that too, right, and other than the fact that they're asking here, I thought it was weird about the whole ripping out flowers and trying to cover the camera with flowers. I don't know. Did they think it was going to just stay there? And we see the flowers the next morning wilted in the front. So there's validation that it was there.
I'm afraid we are looking at, and this is the reason I think it's one person. I think he's mentally ill. If you watch what he does with the flowers alone, he's not well. He's not even hiding himself. Like he comes to the camera like this. Well, why don't you hide the lens? He's worried about infrared? Like, that's strange. And then the way he does the flowers, and he's got them like this, because you can still see him plain as day, it's just, to me, the actions of somebody that they ain't quite with it. And if that's the case, there's not going to be a connection that makes a lot of sense, because it can't make sense, because it only makes sense to him. And if he is what I think he is, it's almost impossible to work with a partner.
Charlotte says, correction, the image of the still photo is 757 Tucson. What does that mean, you guys?
As you well know. So that's why
Colleen says that they may have done this before, but not professional. Hi, that you. Why do I do that? But you and cuff you. Why do I do that? I say but you because I see cuff you and what are you saying at the same time, and I mix it up. My bad, you guys. Come on in, everybody. We got a lot of people in here. Please hit like so that we can get this out to more people. More people can join us. Oh, he's a YouTuber.
I think what I do.
And I like this point you're making. It was interesting because somebody on one of these lives had said something like, well, Jennifer, what type of person does this? And what I said was, it's one of two things. This is either somebody that's 1,000% just motivated by money, and so they are some schmuck that the person who really wanted this done has hired because they're motivated by money. Here's 10, 20,000, and they're like, yeah, I'll do it. You know, they have a criminal history anyway.
Yeah.
Or, exactly to your point, the other person type I named was somebody who is well below the scale in terms of mental illness and mental issue. And when you're looking at somebody like that, I'll give you an example, which you may agree with, is like a Hinckley. And that's the example I gave.
That's the example that I gave.
You did?
Yes.
Where did you get that? That's the example I gave.
Exactly what I said. And I said, think Hinckley trying to impress Jodie Foster.
Yes.
And I said, think of somebody, how dare Savannah not answer me? I will force her to pay attention to me. That's exactly.
So, you guys, I feel so validated. My very, 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 very first live, and every live I've done since. Anybody that watches me, even the beginning of this live, I told you guys that it was my personal opinion that this could be someone that has a parasocial relationship that wants revenge for Savannah, not paying attention to them back. Wow. If these two very strong, intelligent women have a similar, like, if they think that that could be a possibility as well.
Thanks for the sub.
Oh, thank you for the sub. Thank you so much. Let's see who it is. Thank you, Rini. Oh, thank you. So what do you guys think about that? How interesting is that? That makes me feel so validated because we're talking about retired FBI agents here. Like, we're not just talking about just anyone. They have training that I'm sure most of us don't have. I mean, I have training in human behavior and stuff too, but I think that that's interesting that they both just said that. That's literally been my theory this entire time.
Exactly what I think.
Oh my gosh.
And here's the deal. If this was somebody only motivated by money, they would have had money day one. They would have had the deal done day two. They don't even ransom her till day three. And then give two different dates that it's got to be done by. Not by Thursday, but by Monday. That's a hollow thread. This was not about money to me. I don't see proof of it.
100%. And I can't believe we used the same.
Sure did.
This same deal. What I said is, you got somebody so crazy, they're willing to think that if they knock off a president, this person is going to notice them. That's what I said. And then
Exactly what I said to Joe Jackalone, Sergeant Jackalone.
oh yeah, I like him a lot.
Oh, I do too.
That is so interesting, you guys. I wish Jennifer Coffindaffer watched my show because I literally have been saying this since day one. But that just makes me feel validated that I'm not good at everything, you guys, but human behavior and psychology, it's like, other than being a mom, is my thing.
Sharp guy.
It's something, but I think, that's what this seems like to me. This doesn't seem to be money motivated. I mean, you just look at the facts. This isn't money motivated.
Nope. And y'all, again, listen, this is all Jennifer and I have. We don't have any information y'all don't have. But just based on what they've given us, if you don't have money as your motivator, you're left with revenge when it comes to kidnapping. Another thing, why is he spending all that time inside that house turning lights on? If this was a kidnapping for ransom, they grab her, throw her in the car, you're gone. Been the notice sent or left there at the scene, we got her, we want $100,000, don't call the police, we'll be in touch. That's it. Not all this TMZ ridiculousness.
I was just stopping it to say that's exactly right. If you're somebody that is trying to hold somebody for ransom, the last thing you want, in my opinion, is publicity. So why would they go to TMZ and to the news? Why didn't they leave a letter right there in the house for the family? And a few days later, somebody did text the sister and the brother-in-law. So That's the guy that got arrested for faking that he was the one that had the ransom. So he's been arrested and everything. But if he was able to find the sister and the brother-in-law's phone number from public information, then anybody could, right? So why wouldn't you, if you were doing a ransom, make sure that you contacted them and not, you know, the news media or TMZ for that matter. So right there, that was a huge red flag for me. And also, the biggest for me was the fact that it wasn't written and left right there at the scene. Who takes somebody and then leaves for a ransom thing for, you know, weeks later, or not weeks, days later? That doesn't, I don't even know that there's other cases where that's happened, where you get like a ransom days later.
Not all this, well, they were in there for all this time, turning lights on, Lord only knows what they did, and then she's bleeding. There's no reason for her to be bleeding. There's not.
Yeah, I agree. And then back to this point about who would be responsible for it too. It can be somebody that is so remotely attached to her. Yeah. And you know, somebody that she had some intersection with. Remember, she's from Tucson. I'm still convinced that this person is most likely from this area, in and around this area. Do you still believe that too?
I think they're reasonably close. I mean, they could have driven 1,000 miles. Who knows? Again, they came mission ready. If you look at him, whether he needed it or not. And to me, that's one of those things that's really important. He didn't need a mouth flashlight. He didn't need a backpack full of anything. An 84-year-old woman at 1:30 in the morning, if I gain entry into her house, I guarantee you I control that situation. I don't have to have a weapon at all. Fear is going to do it for me. Wearing that mask is going to do it for me. She's going to do whatever I tell her to do. It's going to take me.
Also, keep in mind that he had that GUN in the front of his pants, which is usually an odd place to put it. I mean, I don't hold one, so I don't like strap one on every day. Maybe Army that could let us know. But do people wear GUNs like right in the front there? For me, I've never seen anybody wear their pistol or whatever you want to call it there. So for me, that means that that was more for a fear factor. So that, I mean, you can't mistake it when it's right there. And if somebody comes in your house and you're looking at them, I'm assuming that your eyes are going to go right to that, especially if it's right in front of you. Just my opinion.
I mean, less than 2 minutes once I get in that house to get her out. Period. So, you know, the backpack, the mask, flashlight, the mouth light, the flowers, all of those things are unnecessary except to him. So that's why I said he's mission ready.
Yeah, no, I agree, mission ready, and I agree something off. A lot of people are speculating drugs in the chat, and I've heard it speculated actually by an FBI agent. I don't think this is drugs. I really don't. Could the guy be, you know, high on some marijuana or whatever? Maybe, but I don't think what he's doing and why he's doing this is drug related. I really agree with you that it's something more skewed.
Listen, I've worked a ton of drug burglaries. This ain't it.
I know. I agree with you. I did it was funny because as you have been doing, I've been cutting this up with my FBI brethren, right, and other law enforcement brethren. I was talking to one and he said, oh my gosh, I've got an 80-year-old that was kidnapped, this in South Carolina, kidnapped, but this is why this was different. I went over the whole case, so I won't go over it with you, of course, but basically the guy steals a van. His van breaks down, and as an opportunistic crime, he goes into the house right where the van breaks down, which is this 80-year-old woman's house. He's going in to steal it. They have a confrontation. He stays in that house an hour. He eats pizza. He gets codes from her for her bank account. Things like that. And initially when I heard about the case, I'm like, oh, this is going to have a nexus. But all it did was prove more to me that this was no burglary gone bad, no car gone bad.
That is such a great point, right? Who spends 45 minutes in someone's house if it's a robbery gone bad? I would assume that, especially if it was a robbery gone bad, one, they would have taken more. And two, that would make somebody, oh, well, you know what, let me back that up. I almost said that would make somebody more anxious, but the truth is, if somebody has like antisocial personality, they're not feeling anxiety the way that we do anyway.
Correct.
This is
guy didn't have a backpack that he took in the house. That guy didn't have a mask and a mouth flashlight. No. He just saw an opportunity, boom, I'm in. And then it didn't go like he thought. So, of course, he spent more time and all that. And this is one of those things, too. You have to ask yourself why, if it was a burglary gone wrong, why would they take her? They wouldn't. There would be no reason to make their job more complicated. You're not going to take a woman who can't walk 50 feet and is bleeding and is hurt and can't hear you. You're not taking her with you.
Well, particularly because he's masked top to bottom. In that other case I told you about where that guy took the 80-year-old and then he put a bullet in the back of her head and driving around with her. But he had to because he wasn't masked.
That's what I'm saying. There's no reason to take her.
Yeah,
If she wakes up, you run out.
exactly. So, Mac, really quick here, because I want to be respectful of your time. I want to talk a little bit about the ransom note. Not ransom note, the reward amount being increased to $1 million. I want to get your thoughts on it.
I like it. I like the timing of it. Listen, Savannah does not know me. I don't know anybody that knows her personally, but I have sent her a couple of messages. And one of the messages that I was real adamant about, that it's time to move away from Silence of the Lambs movie and move toward the movie Ransom. I would use that $6 million to hunt your ass down. You'll never see a dime of it.
So let me tell you what I think about that. So the Silence of the Lambs thing, when people were putting that together, that came from where Savannah was giving a plea, and people were comparing her plea to something that was said in a plea in the Silence of the Lambs. I did a whole short on this. I said I did a whole short as if that's like a huge thing, right? But I did a short on this. It might be a short or it might be a video. I think it was a short. But I did a short on this that went through it and just showed that it's probably more likely that the wording was less to do with Silence of the Lambs and more to do with data-driven research and statement analysis. So pretty much looking at what's been used in the past and what works and what doesn't work. And then me remembering that when movie sets like Silence of the Lambs and, these movies that where they have money to spend, they're most likely going to hire someone that's maybe retired, things like that, to let them, to give them, in movies, they want to depict what they're really seeing in real life. So I would say that the Silence of the Lambs probably borrowed more from like the FBI, for example, than the FBI here borrowing from, in helping her write her speech, borrowing from the Silence of the Lambs. Does that make sense to you guys? So, and that's my opinion. So a lot of people think that this was done by people who knew Nancy. This is the thing. I agree with that, but I don't know yet. I think that it's probably someone who knew them, but that they didn't know back. And that is a possibility. Now, I don't know if what you're getting at is that it could have been someone, because somebody else, a few messages back said something about, I guess I don't know if they were getting at this, so I don't want to say it for them, but they were saying that who benefits the most from this in the future, not right now. And I don't know if that means like, family, stuff like that, via a will and all those things. I don't know if that's what the person meant. That's how I took it, as if they might have meant. But we'll see. Let's see. I'm curious of what they answer here.
And I think what she did was beautiful. I think she made it clear because she no longer spoke to the kidnapper, alleged. She did not speak about ransom. She offered the money to the general public to help bring her mama home, to either celebrate her or bury her. But again, for me, and I know you, as soon as she started talking, the first thing she got down to business, she said, our family, we are going to offer $1 million for our mother's recovery. She knows her mom is no longer alive. However she came to know that, she does know it. And then she is going to give money to the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, which is amazing, because here in the middle of the worst situation of her whole life, she's going to give money to others so that they have, access to the same tools that they have had access to, which I think.
Okay, I'm doing this because I saw this and I know that I've done a lot with Google Trends. I just want to answer this question that I don't think they answer. So over here, their question that they got in their live that I don't think that they read out loud, maybe I missed it, was, it says, Cheryl is onto something. Mission ready was one of the Google Trend search terms. Let me tell you what my problem with this is. And I sometimes feel not responsible, people know what Google Trends are, but I use Google Trends a few times in my lives and showed people, how we use it, stuff like that. My only thing is, you would have to, so with Google Trends, I just hope people use it the right way. So to say mission ready is one of the Google Trend search terms, just for me, as a researcher, I would want to know, like, what do you mean by that? Like, it's one of the search terms, what? Like, if I search mission ready right now, you might get that same search term in other states. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. That's my only thing with Google Trends. I know Sarah. I think Sarah's brilliant. So this has nothing to do with that. I just see Google Trends, and because I'm a nerd and I do things on Google Trends on the channel, I didn't want to just go by that and be like I didn't see it. So I do feel the need to say that we would have to assume that the perpetrator Googled mission ready. And my thing is, how do we know what a perpetrator's thinking? The reason I used it for a case like BK was because we got the what's it called, probable cause affidavit, and in there it said that on his phone that he searched. I think one of them was, can an antisocial person do pro-social behaviors or something like that? And the answer to that, you guys, is sure, they could fake that, but most antisocial people aren't looking to do pro-social behaviors. An example of that in the Nancy Guthrie case would be if the antisocial person, meaning a sociopath, psychopath, if they take Nancy Guthrie, chances are they're not going to do something pro-social, like make sure she's fed and getting her medicines done, taken and da-da-da-da-da. So they're probably not really worried about that. That would be a pro-social behavior, something to help another human being. With that said, if someday we get a probable cause affidavit and they find out that the perpetrator was Googling mission ready, then absolutely, that then makes this Google Trend search term important. But in the absence of that, for me personally, I need to know by 95% that it is statistically significant, or that it's less than 5%. When I say 95%, I mean that if you do the same thing, that you're going to get the same answer 95% of the times. That's the threshold. So it has to be 95% or better for me. That was my only thing here. That's all.
I would use that $6 million to hunt your ass down. You'll never see a dime of it. And I think what she did was beautiful. I think she made it clear, because she no longer spoke to the kidnapper, alleged. She did not speak about ransom. She offered the money to the general public to help bring her mama home.
That's interesting. Army Vet said that's a military term also. So, Army Vet, do you mean that, like, mission ready is a military term, like you're just saying that because you're in the military? Or do you mean that maybe if somebody did do mission ready, that it might suggest that maybe they were military? I guess that would be that's not the same thing. So I guess what I'm saying is, do you think mission ready might have been searched because just people in the military are searching that? Or do you think that a perpetrator could have searched something like mission ready, which would then tell us that it could have been something military? I don't know. I'm just asking, just a question.
To either celebrate her or bury her. But again, for me, and I know you, as soon as she started talking, the first thing she got down to business, she said, our family, we are going to offer $1 million for our mother's recovery. She knows her mom is no longer alive. However she came to know that, she does know it. And then she is going to give money to the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, which is amazing. Because here in the middle of the worst situation of her whole life, she's going to give money to others so that they have, access to the same tools that they had access to, which I think is amazing. But then she ends it by saying, we're either going to celebrate her coming home or celebrate the life she lived. She ended again, past tense. So
I'm going to go a little bit further because I don't want to play their entire thing. I feel like
no investigative efforts that I've seen pointed at the family.
I feel like other people should go there and. Oh, I just heard her say investigations pointed at the family. I am interested to hear what they have to say about that.
As I said, all the people that are still pointing fingers at the family, I think people need to move on from that. The sheriff came out. I know you don't trust the sheriff, but the FBI is not going to let that statement go out unless they support it. And there is no investigative efforts that I've seen pointed at the family as of late.
There's no evidence to that, and I'll tell you, Savannah has said we throughout. She stands with her siblings, strong.
And she said today, her sister Annie, she said her name, I think, or at least.
That's right. And she said we are offering family. We are offering $1 million. She didn't say she was putting it up. She said we.
And you know it's it's she.
That's right, but that's not what she said. So she's letting you know where she's coming from. No doubt about it.
Absolutely. Mac, I have kept you so long.
No problem. I appreciate you.
Listen.
I appreciate your audience. And listen, I've had several of them message me and tell me they pre-ordered the book, so I appreciate that too. But Jennifer, you call me anytime. I think this is an important case to keep talking about.
Thank you. And again, everybody, Mac has 2 books out. Well, no, one is almost out, but you can find it on Amazon because I did. You can pre-order it. Tell us just 1 second about these books, Cheryl. This is important.
Well, one is a textbook on how to work a cold case. And the second one is my first book on a case that I worked, and it's called Swans Don't Swim in a Sewer. And it's about a serial killer whose daughter was murdered and asked me to help solve it.
And guys, this is stuff that is not self-published. This is...
Did you just hear that? A guy? Wow. That's interesting. So yeah, if anybody has the means to, definitely go pre-order that book. That sounds really interesting. She just said that the book is about a serial killer whose daughter is murdered and asks her for her help. Could you imagine? Oh my God. So let me come back here real quick because I do have to wrap this up in a minute. So let's see. Let's take this off real quick. I don't know why it has me. Hold on, it has me like full screen. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to take this off and I'm going to show. Hi guys. Ooh, I'm up so close. I didn't realize how close I was. How you doing? How's everybody holding up? We're almost done, you guys. Hi Shannon. Oh, awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please hit like. I want to get to 100 likes and we're so close. So if everybody just hits like in here real quick, if we get me, I'm muffled. Well, that's weird. Am I still muffled now? I should be okay now. I think it's because I had the other YouTube thing up. Oh, you said never mind, that was you. That's funny. But yeah, if everybody hits like, if you get me to 100 likes, I wind up going into the algorithm and then more people get to, no problem. Then more people will get to see the stream and that's just really helpful for me. So I would appreciate it if everybody could get me there. I need like 24 likes to get me there. So if you haven't hit like yet, if you would do that for me, that would be like such a help. You have no idea. And if you haven't hit subscribe, if you could do that for me as well, that would also really help me out. So I know a lot of people say things like, you know, they wish they could help more. That is helping. So, and it's free. So just hitting like and subscribe. Thank you so much, Kathy. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate you for doing that. So I just want to make sure that I go over the ends of this real quick because I did do this before I came on. So I want to make sure that I go over it. And then, like I said, as soon as we hang up in a few minutes, I will go over and I will post this on Discord so that everybody has access to it. So we went over parasocial relationships. So the next one is media amplification, expands the audience and the feeling of familiarity. So this slide's going to bridge the case to modern media environment. So high profile coverage does more than inform. It repeats faces, settings, language, which I talked about a few times, emotional cues, and personal details. Over time, repetition creates familiarity. Familiarity is not automatically dangerous, but it can change how a minority of viewers think about access. So instead of feeling like outsiders, they begin to feel like participants. That's where phrases like, I had to go there, I needed answers, or I wanted them to hear me start to make psychological sense. And isn't that crazy? Because what we just watched with Jennifer, and oh my gosh, what was her name? I feel so bad. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. It'll come to me. But when we were just watching that, you guys, this is important, largely, even that I feel like I was just validated by them just saying it here. So this is about access. So instead of feeling like an outsider, they may start to feel like participants. And then they come over the words or the phrases. I wanted them to hear me was literally one of the phrases that Jennifer just talked about on her show. So there you go. I feel validated with saying that. And then again, this is a risk amplifier, not a sole cause. So media attention expands the pool of people who feel connected. It does not tell us which one, if any, cross a line. And again, that even goes back to seeing who we think are suspects and things like that. This next part is boundary collapse, when publicity, visibility feels like personal accent. So boundary collapse, you guys, is the next step after familiarity. So the person stops treating the target as psychologically distant and starts treating them as reachable. This is so important because my whole theory is that this could have been a parasocial relationship where, you know, now it's revenge because that other person isn't responding. I even think, and we don't know this yet, but I think I'm going to do a BK live soon. And in that live, one of the things that there's a lot to talk about, but even in that live, one of the things that's interesting is that if it's true that he tried to reach out at any point or liked any of the girls' photos, stuff like that, I remember them talking about it in the beginning that you could, I think it was Instagram, where somebody could write you or friend request or whatever, say how you do and things like that, and that you may never even get the message because it might go to like a different folder or something. So something like that, you guys, if somebody is, and I'm not saying that's what happened with BK, but I'm saying that this isn't something unheard of, that we see this happen in other cases as well, where one person might reach out. And again, I need to look into it. I remember that's what was said, but I would have to go back just to make sure. Before, that was just an example. So over here, it is very possible that that could have happened. So let me just keep going, because I want to get you to the end of this, because I do want to wrap this up, because I want us all to get ready to go watch Jennifer Coffindeffer at 6 and her 5 experts that she's going to have on. I wish she has me on as an expert. So Jennifer Coffindeffer, if anybody hears this and you talk to her, I would love to be an expert on her panel. So now I want to introduce real quick that grievance I was just talking about. In threat assessment, grievance is not just anger. It's anger that becomes structured around a target. The target comes to represent rejection, betrayal, injustice, humiliation, or some broader symbolic wrong. That is why grievance can be useful here as a working lens, in my opinion. If behavior seems aimed at interaction rather than simple theft, then grievance becomes one plausible pathway, because it explains why someone would want contact, confrontation, or recognition, okay? So I want to be real careful with my language here. I'm not saying that this was definitely grievance-fueled violence. However, I am saying that targeted contact at a residence is often easier to understand through grievance or fixation models than through purely opportunistic robbery models, in my opinion. We're almost done, you guys, so let's get this done. So targeted access. So this slide lets me explain why the front door is so psychologically important. The front door is where social norms and physical vulnerability overlap. People are used to opening it. That simple habit creates leverage. If a masked person truly arrived at the door, that would matter behaviorally, in my opinion, because masking is not just concealment, okay? It's also concrete confusion, delay recognition, and heightened uncertainty in the first few seconds of contact. So the broader point for me here is that the targeted threshold interactions often tell us that the approach itself mattered. That does not prove motive, but it does suggest that contact was not incidental, okay? All right. Moving to the next one. We're almost there. This is where I want to help everybody understand speed. So people often imagine that serious violence must involve a long, visible struggle or a drawn-out sequence, but threshold events can comprise very quickly. So at the door, surprise and uncertainty are already high, in my opinion. If the offender is committed, prepared, or emotionally aroused, okay, then the situation can move from contact to violence before the victim has time to shift from social mode to defense mode, okay? That's why the threshold matters so much to me. It is the meeting point between compliance and danger, in my opinion. This next slide is why robbery may not fit, at least not cleanly. And again, these whole slides were around what it most likely psychologically is not. And so this is the slide where I want to talk directly to everybody with and pose a likely question. Was this really a robbery? The safest answer is that the current behavioral outline does not make a pure robbery explanation feel especially clean. Why? Because the event, as described in this guide, seems centered on the threshold encounter. If most salient features are masked person at the door, no forced entry, and a bloody porch scene, then interaction appears central, in my opinion. But I do not want to overclaim this because this is just from, my observations thus far. I want to be clear that psychology does not solve cases. It only tells us which explanations seem more or less behaviorally coherent based on the known outline. And then here we go, fact versus narrative. This is like a credibility anchor slide, if you will. So let's walk through real quick, support, unknown, and unsupported. So this structure is useful because it lets you be thoughtful without pretending, without knowing, or no, pretending, you say pretending, to know everything. So without me pretending that I know everything here, I wrote this slide so that we can become more, we can manufacture language and our voices so that I just want to show you guys how to think. That's what I'm getting at. I want to show people how to think critically. When I say how to think, I don't mean like I'm trying to, hypnotize you. That's not what I mean. I mean how to think critically. I should have said that in the first place. So thinking critically is going to be, in my opinion, what solves this. So frankly, that's what will make this this whole message even stronger. So let's keep going. I think we're just core takeaway from my live. So here we go. This is the main idea of the core takeaway. This case is important psychologically because the available outline centers on interaction. The doorway is not just a setting, it's the mechanism of risk, in my opinion. That's why concepts like parasocial familiarity, boundary collapse, grievance formation, and threshold escalation are useful. They do not solve the case, but they help explain why targeted contact at private residence can become so dangerous. Okay? So the motive may still be unknown, but uncertainty does not make the analysis weak. It makes it honest. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is to have an honest look at this. So let's see, where are my so this is just what we know, what remains open. This will all be on Discord. Why it matters, I'm not going to go, oh wait, this is just repeating it, sorry. Where's my reference slide? I will make sure that the reference slide's on there. I have the references at the bottom of each slide, but I have a reference page that I always add, so I will make sure that I add that real quick, so that all my sources are there, so that if anybody wants to look into any of the sources further, do a live stream of their own on them, you're always more than welcome to do so. So there you go. Just give credit, that's all. Like if you use my stuff, just like I do for other people. But if you haven't hit like and subscribe already, please do so. We need to get 9. Kathy says 9. If 9 of you, stranger, could you hit like real quick for me? That would be so, stranger hit like. So who else? We need, how many do we need? Let's try to get them before we're, 6. I need 6 more likes, you guys, to get into the algorithm. 6, that's it. Can you guys please hook me up and give me the 6 likes so that I can get into the algorithm? This is the thing, when you only have 5,000 subscribers, the people with 500,000 get into the algorithm way before you do. So the little people like me need these extra few. I need 6 more likes. If you guys could give me those likes, that would be great. I really do appreciate you. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so that you can come over here and hang out with us and be part of the crew. I get to know my subscribers pretty well. Is there any, hopefully, I don't know if there's any questions before we leave. I do want to make sure that I hang up in enough time for people to go to the bathroom or whatever so that we could go over and see Jen Coffindaffer. Will you guys do me a favor if you go over there? Please let her know that you came from here. I need 2 more likes. 2 more likes. That's it. Just 2. 2 of you. If 2 of you could hit like for me, that would make my whole Sunday, and it would make all of the hard work that I do, because I do a lot of hard work. It would make it all worth it. That would just help me so much. So if 2 of you, there's 105 of us here. If 2 people could hook me up, that would just make my day before I hang up. But either way, it makes my day that you guys are here. So all of you that did hit like, oh, I got 100, yay! Thank you, guys. Now my stream should go into the algorithm so more people will see it. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, you guys, I'm going to hang up. Have a great Sunday. Let's go watch Jen Coffindaffer. Let her know that I sent you. Cuff You is gifted 5 memberships. What, Cuff You? Wow. Thank you, Cuff You. We have to make sure we see who our newest members are. We have Hawkeyes is our new member. Lynn Marie, Christy, CJ Lopez, and Roger Smith. Yes. And Hawkeyes, you just wrote yes 102, which is amazing, right? Now you have a membership. Yes. Oh, I love that. There you go, Hawkeyes. Now I'm so excited for you. Thank you so much, Cuff You. You didn't have to do that. I do appreciate you. Thank you, Gutter Snipe. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Anders. Please come back. I hope to see you here again. Thank you to all of my mods that are here as well. You guys are amazing. Welcome to all of our new members. We put the fun in dysfunctional over here at this channel. So welcome. And it's going to do another one. Let's see. All right. So we have Lynn Marie. Good job, Lynn Marie. I feel like I need to say one for you guys to get your dun 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 dun. It's like another minute and a half, so maybe I will. So in the meantime, what are you guys up to? I know, I feel like we need to get over there to Jen Coffindaffer. But let's see what happens. Let's try to get these last few in real quick. Thank you guys for being here. I really do appreciate everyone. I'm glad that I went on a little bit earlier tonight because I feel like we have new people that haven't been to our channel before. Yes! Christy Harwoo, D3506. You are our newest member. Welcome to the Minds Behind True Crime with Dr. Vona, where we put the fun in dysfunctional. Right? Let's see. Time to make some bacon. Seriously. Someday, Kat. I think that's the thing. It's all about perseverance and getting through all of this stuff so that we get there. I'm not sure you and I agree too much, but I like opposing views. Kathy, I appreciate that. CJ Lopez, welcome to the Mind Behind True Crime with Dr. Vona, where you put the fun in dysfunctional. I have to tell you, Kathy, I love that. I don't mind that we don't agree. I like more that we don't agree and that you still find it valuable. That to me is what's valuable, because, and I want to know your opinion. Tell me, because this is the thing, you guys. I don't claim to think that I'm right at everything, right? So you might have an opinion that helps me. Hold on. Roger Smith, welcome to the family. But just getting back to that real quick, Kathy, I appreciate you because, and this is the thing, I want you to tell me your views. Because again, I'm not the type of person that doubles down and is like, I'm right. I'm not that person. If you say something and I'm like, I'll reflect on it. And if it makes sense, I'll change my mind. I have the right to do so. So please, if you ever have a difference of opinion, don't feel like you can't share it here. You so can. And
Thanks
I'm
for
listening.
the sub.
Thank you for the sub, Linda. Linda Hogan, thank you. Welcome, Linda. Oh, Insight, you're good. What was that to? I don't really care either way, but...
Thanks for the sub.
Thank you, Mary. Mary Vanderwood, thank you. Wow. Yes, what are you saying? You shouldn't surround yourself with only people that agree with you. Life would be... I mean, think about that. If everybody just agreed with you all the time, I'm sure it's blissful in some senses, but in another sense, it's not good. There's no room for growth there. Wendy says, the earlier time is better for us in the UK, but it doesn't matter. We love to tune in anyway, even if it's the replay. Wendy, I appreciate you. I hope to do a little bit of both. It's easier to do it during the day on a Sunday because I'm not at my job, but so I'll see what I could do. I'm trying. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to end now because it's literally Jen starts in 1 minute and I said we're going to go over there. So let's us all go over. Wait, let me see if I could do it from here. Let me see if I could do it from here and send us over there. It's really cool, actually. You wind up going over to the other live together. Like, it like floods us into the other live. And nobody has to do anything. It literally redirects it on its own. And then if you don't want to be on that live, you just click out of it. So let me see if I could get us on that live real quick. I found it the other day. Let's see if I could remember how to do it. I think I could do this. All right, I had to go to here. On that live real quick. I found it the other. Oh, I had to pause that. I have to go here. I know you guys aren't watching what I'm doing. I'm like, I have to go here, have to go there. Oh, thank you guys. I'm up to 110 likes. Wow. Thank you. Okay, I'm opening it up. Let's see. If we can get on to Jen's. I think this is it. All right, here we go. Oh, it says my stream is excellent and healthy. That's good. That's nice. All right, let's see. Is it going to let us go over to Jen? Probably not. Of course, I figured it out the other day and can't figure it out today. Let me try one more thing. If not, whoever's still here, I do appreciate you. If not, no big deal. We could just go over there. We could all just hit on Jen's live and go over there, but let's see if I could figure it out for 1 sec. If you're still here with me and you want to stay for a second. I think I remember how to do this. I literally just did this the other day. Oh wait, I think I know what I have to do. I think I remember now. And if this doesn't work, you guys, we're just going to hang up and go over there together. But let's see. I'm going to try one more thing. All right, I think this is it. Hold on, I think I found it. Okay, here it goes. Redirect. I have to add Jen. Oh, I think I found it. Oh, maybe I had to put in break the case. Oh no, I think it's here. Hold on. Break the case. And let's see if it'll bring us over live. It brought me to Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Oh my God, you guys. I'm not going to click on that because I want us to go to Coffin Daffers. So just do me a favor and let's go over to Coffin Daffers. Really? Jennifer. I'm just putting it in real quick, and if not, no, I don't think it's going to come up. It's bringing me to Tony Bruschi. So let's just hang up here. We'll go over to Jen Coffin Daffers. Tell her I sent you, please. That would be amazing. Hit like and subscribe. Thank you to my mods. Thank you for everybody. Thank you, Cuff You. That was so very generous of you. And I'll see you all maybe tomorrow. We'll see.